Caitlin is here from North Carolina, and she's come up to tell us a little bit about herself and the things that she's doing. Welcome, Caitlin, please. Welcome, Caitlin. Welcome, Caitlin!
Alright, in all honesty, they asked me to do this like 5 minutes ago, and someone once told me if you was provided with the opportunity, just say yes. So I've created my life that way, just to always say yes. And I'll tell you what, it's taken me for one hell of a ride. So I come from a little small town. It's called Cherokee, North Carolina. Are you guys familiar? You must have been to the casino up there. Okay. I gotta represent. I'm a Native American, and I have to say that drug abuse and the opioid crisis is prevalent everywhere, but for Native Americans, our rates are extremely high. We have experienced generational trauma, and unfortunately, that has affected us in so many ways, but we are trying to become resilient, and we're trying to overcome that. Just to tell you a little bit about myself. So, I come from a military family, and I grew up on a reservation, and unfortunately, we see a lot of drug use, right? And that becomes normal. So as we're growing up, as we're coming into middle school, that's where it started. My first time use was 12 years old. I can remember thinking to myself, well, mom and dad do it, so it should be fine. And you see it all the time. So I started using. I went through high school. Graduated valedictorian. I say that because I want you to know I was voted most likely to succeed and ended up being on a prison bus looking around at everybody, wondering to myself, how did I end up here? I was voted to most likely to succeed, and now I'm headed to prison. So this can happen to anybody. It don't matter what your ethnicity is. It doesn't matter what your job title is. It doesn't matter where you come from. If you come from a little small town, if you come from an overpopulated place, it can happen to anybody. So, with that being said, I started using pills. I started using heroin. I started using fentanyl, and that's whenever I knew things were getting really bad. The last time that I went to jail, I remember being taken up to the front, right? And I want to share this with you because this is an important message. I remember going up to the front, the jailer, he grabs my face sheet and he reads my face sheet and he looks at me and he says, my middle name's Hope. Believe it or not, Hope. You know, I've always been kind of embarrassed about that piece of my story, like my grandma Hope. But it's now I'm starting to realize why I was given that name. So he picks up my face sheet and he says, Caitlin Hope, more like Caitlin Hopeless. I was hopeless. I was broken. I know what trauma looks like. I know what pain looks like. If there's one thing that I think we can all relate to, is pain. But I tell you what, you can take that pain and it can be used for a purpose. And that's what I'm doing here today. I'm using my pain for a purpose because God has given us a story. Every single person standing here, you have a story. And in these stories, we have culture. In these stories, we have connection. In these stories, we have purpose. In these stories, we have drive and determination. But unfortunately, in these stories, it's riddled with pain. It's riddled with hurt. It's riddled with brokenness. So, believe it or not, we can relate to one another more than you even realize. If we would take a second just to listen to each other's stories. How many times have we been walking through and we've been too afraid to look up? Or we've been too busy on our phones. We don't want to look each other in the eye. We need to do that. As human beings, we are all alike. Whether I'm Native American, whether you're Hispanic, whether you're Caucasian, whatever ethnicity that you are, whatever race, creed, we are all the same. And instead of beating each other down, instead of telling somebody, yeah, you're a junkie, you're hopeless, you're broken, we know, we understand that. We are living that every single day. What would it look like if we could come together and instead of whenever you see that addict, you turn around and you say, hey bud, I know you're living in a hard time. Can I take 5 minutes just to hear your story? It might shock you the tragedy that they experienced. It might shock you the type of lifestyle that they've grown up from. It might shock you where they come from. And we could actually take a little bit of time to encourage one another. So I quit my job a month ago. Me and my husband, we started this non-profit organization. We are a service provider over here under this big tent. We both are in recovery. I used to be a drug dealer, right? I used to wear that label, but now I'm a hope dealer. I don't want to deal drugs anymore. I don't want to deal drugs anymore. And that's because I was able to get connected. I was able to find people that could pour into me, that could help me to start believing in myself, that I could finally learn how to love the person who is looking in the mirror, right? I held that flag up. I held that flag up for a reason, because I'm proud of who I am today. And you should be too, no matter where you're at, no matter what society has told you. Lift your head up, because there is so much hope. There's so much more that you could be doing in this world. With this nonprofit organization, we were trying to open up a men's transitional home. We took our own house, had donated it to the organization. It was a trap house. It was legit a drug house. But now we're transforming it into a hope house. Because we see what this drug epidemic is doing to our purpose. I feel like if you have been brought through something, a near-death experience, any kind of pain, any kind of struggle, like I said, let your pain be used for purpose. We are meant to turn around and help carry each other's burdens. I appreciate you guys giving me the time to be able to get up here to speak. I'm Cherokee. I'm Native American. I'm more than just a junkie. I'm a strong, resilient woman. You guys are strong people, and together we can make changes in this world. Together we can continue to spread that hope and that courage. But we got to do this together. I really appreciate you guys. Y'all are amazing.
Thank you so much. That was very beautiful.